Now, his new book is The Omniverse, and that's what we're discussing. And Alfred, right before the break, I wanted to ask you about, that universal law of the afterlife and how it applies to ET. But before you get to that, we were talking about the United Nations and how if we should have an ambassador, if you will, an exo-political ambassador. If ET lands, let's just say the proverbial White House landing and the ramp comes down, who would you suggest to stand at the end of that red carpet and greet ET for planet Earth?
Well, that's a really good question, and it's kind of early in the program, but I know somebody who's running on that platform.
Andrew Basiago?
Yeah.
I can almost see that. That's who comes to mind first for you. That's the name that you would put in the hat.
Yeah, I mean, if I've known Andy for, this is just to have kind of a truth in lending here, okay? I've known Andy Basiago personally for 15 years. He's a man of consummate integrity. He's known me since 1971, which is over 40 years. That's when he first saw my book, Exopolitics, as a childhood participant in DARPA CIA's Project Pegasus. And I've been working with him now for 15 years. I've been helping him develop many of his platforms, one of which is the Mars Treaty. And that is that we all know, and in fact, you can go to chapter 3 on the Omniverse and you will see both legal evidence and scientific evidence that there is intelligent life on Mars, that that the Martian civilization and the US civilization have been interacting with each other for at least 30 years, that Martians have been coming here, members of the Martian Astronaut Corps and others have been coming here since at least 1970. Andy Basiago met some Martian astronauts in 1970 on an East Coast base together with his father. And conversely, the US has had bases, and some people say much more nefarious things, under the Mars Colony Corporation, which has been under the kind of CEO-ship of a guy who flunked out of Yale when he was a sophomore, and I was a freshman, called Richard B. Cheney, who reportedly turned many of the Mars colony, which recruited people here on Earth to go there under, hey, come on, do this for God and country, and they get there to Mars and they're slave labor. So Andy and I have developed the Mars Treaty, which is a UN treaty, which is in conformity with the UN Outer Space Treaty of 1967 and the Mars Treaty of 1969, which is between two sovereign planets, the civilizations on Mars and the civilizations on Earth. And so we don't have the US Department of Defense and the matrix powers of the earthly bankers and other bloodlines trying to colonize Mars and use it as a jumping off place and slave labor place for their own enrichment. And that's what Andy's going to do. His being elected president, I think you'll have, number one, release of planetary teleportation, which is what we have to do. We have to get beyond fossil fuels, which are polluting, which cause oil wars, which take up tremendous land space in terms of the highways, the overpasses in cities have killed cities. Just read Jane Jacobs and she'll tell you all about it. And what we have, he used to go as a childhood participant to a DARPA forward time base in the year 2045. And by that time, teleportation was commonplace, so that, you know, you decide you're in New York, you're in San Francisco, you're in wherever, and you want to have lunch in Paris or you want to have lunch in Moscow. I mean, it's, you know, we're going to be beyond the Cold War and beyond this bankers wars by then, and we'll have advanced planetary status, which is teleportation, which is most of the omniverse works on telepathy and teleportation. And now you have the young kids with a, you know, they have the 5-strand DNA coming in, and, you know, everybody's getting more telepathic. So we're starting to get there. And energy, free energy, Andy's going to release all of the free energy that is now in sequestered projects, all sorts of medical cures. And he's even talked about making me ambassador to the UN. So guess what? I'm committed to implementing and signing that Mars Treaty as ambassador to the UN.
For more on Andy Basiago, you can go to his website and check it out, and all of those questions that are there. Certainly, if Andy makes it all the way to the White House, Alfred, there's no doubt about it. I think the question of disclosure would be answered.
Yeah. People can go to andy2016.com. And I just want to say one final thing, because I know that this program is about the Omniverse, and I really want to focus on that, but this is really important. It's a really important step for humanity not to find itself on some kind of trumped up charges before a universe court, but rather to find a smooth entry into universe society. And that is, Andy's a person that CIA, reportedly, DARPA CIA time travel pre-identified him as a future US president. So I think this is in the cards. So if you're searching around and you're really not happy with what you see, I mean, I call them the trumped up candidates, right, who are out there. Vote for Andy Basiago. Right now, it's going to be a write-in campaign, and so anyway, that's the end of my unpaid political endorsement.
Yeah, Andrew's a great guy. He's been a guest on Coast to Coast many times, and of course over on my show, Two Fade to Black. He's a great guy, and he's steadfast, and you can't crack Andy for sure. Now, before the break, Alfred, I wanted to ask you, do the universal laws of the afterlife, do they apply to ET?
Absolutely, because you see, to the other ETs, you're an ET, and this is the deal, okay? This is the deal. As souls, we're based in a non-local, non-temporal base. Both you and I, Jimmy, at this point, our souls are in our respective avatars. Remember that movie Avatar?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Alfred and Jimmy are avatars, and it's our souls that are animating our avatars. We use our avatars to navigate the three-dimensional temporal dimension of space. Of Earth space. In other words, Alfred and Jimmy are avatars with their biological avatars. And what the science shows is that our souls can, quote, simultaneously be leading multiple lives. In other words, we can be leading lives right here on Earth as Alfred and Jimmy, and, quote, simultaneously at the same time, you're off in some other constellation in this universe or in some other galaxy, and you're in an avian planet, as an advanced avian intelligence, because that's what you want. And another part of your soul, because not the entirety of the soul is involved. In other words, reincarnation and incarnation is not the whole activity of a soul. A lot of what we do is involved in the creation, maintenance, design of the universes and all of the galaxies and planets and solar systems therein. So maybe you're deployed up in some galaxy someplace and you're adjusting time in there, or you're helping develop a new species, or you're, you know, moving along a life-bearing planet that is in a certain stage where animal life is just developing at that point. We're in a really complex, multidimensional, multi-activity, multitasking. We are owning right now, part of our multitasking is being Jimmy and Alfred in the Earth dimension, but we're involved in a lot of things at the same time. So that all, quote, extraterrestrials are in fact souls that are inside avatars of Pleiadians, of reptilians, of Orion Greys, of Greys. There are 150 species of Greys that are known now, of the Syrians, you know, of all of the visitors that we have here. All of them are avatars, because the universes are like theme parks for avatars, and they're theme parks for souls. And our souls say, hey, you're getting deployed to theme park universe number XYZ,
right?
And you're going to be this particular type of ET, and this is what you need right now, because you need to work on this aspect of, you know, your development. And we know that you can handle 2 or 3 lives at once. So your guides get together and this is what you do. So that's what the data shows.
Well, what about, Alfred, that fuzzy ball of religion that we went through here? Is ET going through that same religious question and lumping everything together into that fuzziness?
Well, the answer again is yes and no, because remember that we're in a very special sector of the universe here. We're in an impacted planet, and our planet has been under universe quarantine for about 250,000 years. The spiritual circuits have been shut off, and that has been done because a whole group of what we can call them rogue ETs, ranging from the Anunnaki to the Draco reptilians to the Orion Greys, some people say came in here from Andromeda, made deals with the planetary leadership here and the spiritual leadership of this sector of the galaxy or universe under historical figures whose names resonate in our literature, like Lucifer and Satan. Those are historical names for Star Wars events that took place in the distant past, long, long ago, but they took place here. And so we're still in the aftermath of that. So we're in an impacted sector. And so it's actually to our advantage, because incarnating on Earth, it's like, you know, think of if you're applying to university and you have the choice of Harvard, MIT, and then community college, and you get into Harvard or MIT. Now, that's nothing against community college, okay?
Right, got you.
Comma. However, incarnating on Earth is actually a great privilege, because starseeds or aware souls, like the majority of the listeners to this program are here because our mission is to help elevate this planet and bring about its reintegration into universe society after 200,000 to 1,000,000 years of our being in quarantine because of this rebellion, which not only included ETs, comma, it also includes a machine-based and plasma-based intelligence that we call artificial intelligence. And that's a mix that is just coming into exopolitics now, that through a whole number of scholars like Harold Krausweiler and a whole community, we have just completed a whole series of symposia on the exopolitical impacts of artificial intelligence. People who want to follow that can go to our websites, exopolitics.com or newsinsideout.com. And that's kind of a newcomer to the exopolitical mix. But we're here at a very exciting cosmic time. And just remember, the first letter of my last name is W, and this might be corny, but I'll say it anyway. Just always think of W. There's a W. There's you, the avatar, and then there's you, the soul. And you have to almost have double vision so that you know how to distinguish between what Alfred's doing and what the soul of Alfred's doing. And that's why many cultures say, Namaste, I salute the God within you, because everyone that you encounter is a holographic fragment of God and is God inside that avatar.
Well, for all of the intelligent civilizations that you refer to that were created by souls in the afterlife, which is easy enough to grasp onto, but what about non-intelligent or negative civilizations that are here for bad intentions and not here for our own good?
Well, they are intelligent. And you see, the equation and the design in this universe is free will. And that's where the design criterion in this universe, in this particular universe, as a free will universe, was to throw the dice. Okay, you've got free will. You want to do what occurred in this event. Some people call it the Lucifer Rebellion 200,000 years ago plus, and say, oh, there is no God. This is one of the people that was in charge from a spiritual point of view. He was fairly high up in terms of running, affairs in this segment at a spiritual level, and then on down into the time, space, energy, and matter level with all the creatures like us in there, like avatars in there, and saying, God doesn't exist. God is a myth. God is a creation. God is a meme that they're using to control you. And that's what began with the Lucifer Rebellion, and that was free will. And then they sucked in a whole bunch of civilizations ranging from the Anunnaki to the Dracos to the Orion Greys, and then all those people came in, and we had Star Wars, if you look at our solar system alone.
Well, I need to jump in, Alfred. We're against a break here. This is Coast to Coast AM. We'll finish that thought when we come back tonight. Alfred Webre is our guest. His book is The Omniverse.